Look, it's nice to see you
Nice
here.
to see you.
And ransom is a very topical sort of subject. I mean, it's a show about global terrorism. And how did you prepare for the role of the private negotiator, Eric Beaumont?
So it is about, on occasion, it's about global terrorism. It's also about, negotiating all kinds of scenarios, kidnap, ransom, that kind of thing. And as you say, he's a private negotiator. So a lot of this stuff is occurring, without media attention, which is quite interesting. And there's this sort of breed of negotiator that I wasn't really aware of, that are resolving these situations, and to all intents and purposes, peaceably. All the time. So that was pretty fascinating, sort of getting an insight into that world. And Laurent Combalbert is the French negotiator who inspires my character, Eric Beaumont. Mm-hmm. And he is quite a charismatic man, and he has been an invaluable sort of reference or source material, if you like, over the months of shooting and prior to shooting, and we've worked up a nice friendship, and it's been an absolute pleasure, really, to sort of represent him and portray him in a way. Does that sort of answer your question?
That answers my question. Throughout your acting career, you played very sort of versatile roles, from a warrior in Game of Thrones to a captain of the guard in Pirates of the Caribbean, and even a doctor in Alby City, right?
Doctor in Alby City.
So, what has been your favorite role and why? I mean,
obviously Eric Beaumont in Ransom, but I also spent the last 2 years, or 2 years prior to Ransom, working on a show called Black Sails, where I play the governor of New Providence Island, Nassau, and that's very close to my heart. I thoroughly enjoy doing that because I got to wield a lot of swords and just generally terrorize the colonies. So that was enormous fun, and a great cast and crew there. And Ransom has been fantastic, very different experience, and it was nice to jump off the ship and into the modern world, besuited and carrying a mobile phone and solving crimes effectively. So it's been amazing, and also to play a contemporary American character versus a sort of an 18th century British colonial governor. So that was a great change. Game of Thrones obviously was a treat. That was, I say it flippantly, but it was sort of my summer job in between seasons of Black Sails, and who doesn't want to play a double sword wielding greatest warrior in the Seven Kingdoms. So that was pretty cool, and they treated me incredibly well. And so I've been very fortunate. The last few years, it's mostly been costume dramas, and then along came Ransom. So it was very welcome.
Less dressing up, or
I guess less dressing up, less fussing. Although I would say that Frank Spotnitz is quite particular about the white shirt and which button is done up, but only to create something identifiable. And it's a great uniform, and it works very well.
Did you have to take fencing lessons for the sword work?
For Game of Thrones and Black Sails? Well, bizarrely, I was working on a show called Dovekeepers for CBS, and I was playing a Jewish assassin, a Sicarii, hence the movie Sicario. And so I was working on Dovekeepers, and I was wielding two blades. And I spoke to the stunt coordinator at the time, and I said, what would be good for me? A gentleman in his mid to late 30s, what martial art should I take up? And he said, well, this is a recurring thing, and he suggested Kali, which is a Filipino martial art. So I looked it up online, and near me there was a gentleman who taught this art, and so I went and consulted him. And the following day I had an audition for Game of Thrones wielding two swords, which was quite timely. He helped me sort of strike a few poses, and I'm sure that was instrumental in me getting the gig. Game of Thrones, I worked for 2.5 months learning the routine and getting it down, so it looked impressive. It's really a dance. It's more sort of like dance choreography, but then of course you have to make it look aggressive, like you're trying to kill all the people attacking you.
It's more, I suppose it's more theatrical, because I do fencing as a sport.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But it's more like sport. It's like you get to the point. You
Yes,
actually get about.
absolutely.
I suppose that is more theatrical, and you get to do
That's
the pose. And
right. You've got to sell it,
So
so
that-
it looks
yeah.
like it looks like genuine combat, but much like sort of hand-to-hand combat on screen. If it goes the same speed as a real fight, you miss it.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely. Slower.
there's a messy outcome, and things tend to have to be slightly accented or accentuated to sell it, because it's it's a piece of theatre. But but all of that training and all of that stuff has really helped, and very exciting. And what's great about the character in Ransom is that Eric, although he is a great advocate of non-violence, that's very much his mantra: no guns. You get glimpses through the series of his past life, and he was in fact involved in a tactical. He has a tactical background, as Laurent Combalbert did, so you know that he can equip himself physically if required to. He just chooses to go the other way. So, a little samurai.
So mentally, you were prepared because you were like a warrior from
That's right,
before.
and
So you know.
Yeah, and I suppose negotiation is there's a conflict. There's two opposing ideas, and you then create a third idea. So it's I know that Laurent trains. He says beautifully in his French tones, the way of the sword. Whereas, and so when we chatted initially, he said his kids were excited that I was going to portray him because I've been in Game of Thrones. So that show has the Midas
cool,
touch.
yeah.
So cool. But so there's a connection.
Great. Now I ask you like a sort of political question, not political, but no, not political.
Ill-equipped for
not
this.
political, but if you were
Yes.
like Prime Minister of Britain for the day, just for the day, what would you do?
Oh my goodness! I would.
Like, with your background.
I would call an instant referendum to elect somebody else.
That's a good answer, actually.
That's it.
Not political at all.
That's it. And what can we expect from Ransom? Except, you told me already.
Sure. You can expect a satisfying one-off drama each episode, because it is a procedural drama.
Standalone, or
Each episode
okay.
stands alone, but there is a serial thread running through it. The relationships of the core characters do develop and are revealed, and the nature of the characters is revealed as the show goes on. So it's worth watching them in sequence, but you can just dip in. But it's it's a new spin on the procedural drama, and I think we're all very proud of it, because if there is a message, it's a non-violent one. Nothing is resolved with guns. There's always the threat of danger, but it's always being averted. And there's some really cool cinematographical sort of ways of capturing the themes and the ideas of the show. So there's a lot to look forward to, and you have the performances of the other cast in the show: Nazanin Contractor, Sarah Green, Brandon J. McLaren, and Emma Decaune from France, and numerous others. And everyone's so fantastic, and that's what kind of makes these shows, with a support cast.
Absolutely.
Are knocking it out of the park, which they do consistently. So it's cool.
Well, I can't wait to see it. And last question.
Okay.
It's what are you up to next? I mean, after
that's
that's
a carefully guarded secret, and a negotiator
okay.
never,
Of course you can.
never reveals their strategy.
Little thing.
We shall see. We shall have to wait and see.
Okay.
But I'm very fortunate, because I've been working the last few years, so it's as much as an actor can be, I can afford to be a little bit selective. But this has been an amazing experience, and we shall see.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure
My
to meet
pleasure.
you. Thank you.